Hello, how are you? This is JilliBling. So what do you think? I've had so much fun playing around in my room and making this card and then just playing with watercolor pencils. Have you ever tried watercolor pencils? And if so, how long ago? I've had them for so long, I had to test them as like, does it even still work? And I had some from before, oh, just a minute, Roomba went on. And I think it was before Stampin' Up! Came out with watercolor pencils. And they're just, I think they're like Prismacolor watercolor pencils. And I tried it before, loved it. And I pulled them out particularly for coloring the horse. And I know they're really great for coloring like flowers. And you don't even have to use the watercolor to kind of activate it. You could just do the colored pencils just as colored pencils, and they blend beautifully together. So this is today's project. We'll do watercoloring on this, but I also have a few little tests over here using the colors in different colors. And do you see how vibrant those are? So we'll do this little bit in just a minute. But this is today's project, and it is using a new set called Unbridled Beauty, and it's available in early January. Isn't that fun? And that's all watercolor pencil. So here's the set, Unbridled Beauty, and we will be using party banners, and that's mostly just for these dies right here. Okay, so I'm really excited about showing you about watercolor pencils, so let me just start there. Today has been actually the past 3 days have been very indulgent, doing just whatever I want to do. Tony is off visiting his mom, my mother-in-law, in Sacramento, so I have a few days and there's no baby. It's like, oh my gosh. So I colored a white horse with a little bit of gray accents for the shadows, just because I thought it was pretty. And then I thought, well, let me color what is a traditional horse? And I'm thinking brown, and I just wasn't liking how the colors were blending. So then I tried doing more of a caramel color, and that just wasn't working. So I think for the horse, the one that we do today, I'm gonna do it as like a dark, deep gray, maybe some places bordering on black, with highlights of a lighter gray. So that's the plan. But you could see I tried all different combos, and for me it just wasn't smooth enough. I kept thinking, oh, I want to color with my blends, but today is all about watercolor pencils. So let me show you this. And here are the papers we're going to use for today's project. Let me just set those out. We'll get to these in just a minute. But in the catalog on page 133, there are two different groups of watercolor pencils, assortment 1 and assortment 2. 13 pencils in assortment 1, 10 pencils in assortment 2. So just depending on what colors you want, I'd say get both of them because it's nice to have all the colors, but you could do however you like. What's interesting here is they say try wet or dry. So they just colored it, and every time I've used my watercolor pencils, I could not wait to get my aqua painter to it, to just have fun with watercolor pencils. But today, for the first time, I tried doing it dry, and that's fun too. It's beyond just coloring with colored pencils. So let me pull out all of these. And when you have pencils, just like when you were in kindergarten or whenever you were using pencils, be a little bit careful with them. You know the kids that would always play drums, and they were always the one going and sharpening on them, and the lead would break every time they got anywhere on them? That's from the drum playing. As much as even just a drop, it breaks the lead, which is inside the wood. And then every time you go to sharpen your pencil, not every time. If you're playing drums, every time. If you just drop it quite a few times, or if you smack it down, you might have one break in there. But if you're aware of that, you won't have a problem. I put them on a little color chart just because when I look at the end, to me, these look very similar. But when you put it on here, like just a little scribble of the color, you could tell what color it is a little bit better, and that works for me. So these are the colors that I used to color in this, and I purposely did it a little bit wild. But remember how in the catalog it said color it dry? Look how pretty that is. You don't even need to take your aqua painter to that. And then I really had fun with garden green and granny apple green. Look how pretty those are. You don't need to take your water painter to it. These are pretty too. This is before I really thought about just leaving it dry. So when you do any stamping that's going to require coloring, if it's coloring with the blends, you use Memento. If you color with aqua painter, watercolor pencils, taking an aqua painter into ink, perhaps that you put on a block, you always want to use StazOn. StazOn is, I'd like to say it's waterproof, but it's more a, what do they call it? A solvent ink base. And the smell of it, either you're a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Personally, I love the smell of StazOn. Other people, I guess they smell different levels of it and they're like, no, that's just solvent. So when you're sniffing your stamp pad, don't get your nose dark, just saying. So StazOn is for anything that you're going to use water with. Memento is for anything blends, just plain old blends. Both of them can be used for everyday stamping like greetings. So let's play around with this. So I already have these colored, and it was nothing special to color them. Being thorough, this is how I did the green, and I love how the green came out. I might just leave it like that, but it's a lot of fun to get the water on it. So I'm putting a little bit of pressure on it, coloring garden green, then granny apple green, and then when you go over the garden green, they just kind of blend. So that's kind of a small area. Let's try doing this flower and the two different blues. I have Night of Navy and Balmy Blue. And this will be a little bit bigger. Night of Navy. Balmy Blue, and I'll just fill in the rest of it. But you see how well they just kind of blend together? Okay, so there's that. And that's how I did Pumpkin Pie and Daffodil Delight. And then here I did Cherry Cobbler and Calypso Coral. Okay, so now when you take the water to them, and so for water, you could use an aqua painter, which is a little bit more generous with water, or you could use a blender pen, which looks like a marker, but it just has clear fluid in it. And it's not water in it, it's a combination of different ingredients. But you could use either way to kind of activate the color. So let me show you what's the brightest one. I'll show you what it does. It's like it kind of melts the pigment in the pencil. So when you go over it, nothing. See how it's a little bit brighter? Now you could see no lines at all. So let me clear this out. What's going to happen when I do Pumpkin Pie into Daffodil? See how smooth it makes it? And it's a little bit brighter. But when you look at this one to this one, you could see that there is a difference. But once you stop coloring, once you've hit it one time with the aqua paint or a blender pen, the color is pretty much set. So if I were to go over this again, the color would not move. So I'm going to get the color out of here. Let me try this. See, to me that's making it just a little bit muddy. So you could see a little bit of a difference. I think with the water painter on it, it looks a lot smoother. Let's try the blue. Let's try the big blue. So I'm going to first get the color out because I don't want any of that coral or cherry cobbler coming over to the blues. Okay, so here's navy. And then I'll drift up into no color zone. So see how it's a bit smoother? So if I were to go back over this, which is already pretty much set, the colors don't move. It just stays right there. Same with this. But what you can do, that's an interesting thing about coloring. So when you're coloring, see how my tip is not perfectly pointing? Many times, most of the time, that's what you want. Because when you're applying color, see how the tip is a little bit dull, but it's putting the pigment onto the paper? Then let me find another one that's pointy. Here's a cherry cobbler. So this one is a little bit more pointing. I'm purposely going to push on the area that's really pointy. Well, that one isn't. It's really soft. There we go. Okay, so the grape, you could see the pencil strokes because it was a bit pointy. So when you go to do the watercoloring on it, many times where the pencil stripes were, you can't watercolor it smooth. On the other hand, right here where it was a little bit dull, when you go over that, the whole thing is smooth. So it's just playing around, testing out, seeing what works. Another thing you can do is if you wet the paper first, then pick up your color and go into it, it's like it's already activated and it goes on really dark and it's kind of melting the tip of the pencil. Nothing tragic or anything, but then if I go back and color it, sometimes it's like it's not moving because it was already kind of activated. I know I'm using the wrong words. So if you wanted really dark, right down in here, yep, those are already set, but I'm going to do this darker color right down in there, and I can apply a second layer of color, and it's just a little bit darker. So with all of that, I know it's kind of overwhelming. Just play around with your markers if you have them. So let's see. This one is purposely, I did in Memento, and I haven't tested this. I've just been told. Stays On is for watercoloring. Memento is for the blends. So I stamped with Memento, and I colored with the watercolor pencils, and that looks great. But if you go to activate it, let's see what happens. They say that the black smears. I'm thinking it's getting a little bit fuzzy. Clear it out. Let me go right into here. Does the black travel? You know what it does. Do you see how it got a little fuzzy? Okay, so now we're going to do the horse, and compared to all these bright colors, you can't say it's boring, okay? Because we're going to do exciting things on the card. Okay. I'm trying to be careful. stays on. Oh, and another thing is when you're stamping with stays on, we can do that right away. I'm going to stamp the horse on here. Your stays on for the longest time, I would say polymer stamps and stays on, they just don't get along. Just don't do it, because it's that, this is the pad I did not re-ink. It just, it's kind of, they don't get along. But we're going to make them get along. The answer is re-inking your pad. But this one, I could see that there's plenty of ink on it. But first of all, when I'm stamping, when I'm trying to ink it, the pad is sticking to the polymer. It's like the pad is drinking up, or the polymer stamp is drinking up. Oh, okay, so it should be plenty stamped. Probably should have done it on scrap paper. Then when you go to peel it off, it's like you are peeling, like really peeling up. And you saw how well I inked it up. So, like I said, the answer is re-inking it. So this one I re-inked. I'm going to save the back side of the paper. Well, this one it should be good. And another thing is you have to go quickly from stamp pad to paper. If you just sit there and look at it, did I get good coverage? It's dry. Well, that's the thing about, so see how this one is a little bit, it's not sticking? That's something about stays on, is they say you could stamp on plastic, on cellophane, on glass. Okay. So the first instance is this polymer stamp did not stick in there. Okay, so it's still going to be a little bit sticky here, but look how much better that is. But that's because I just re-inked this. So just so you're aware of that. Okay, so we have a good image. Oh, and we have to do the other, this for this horse, the close-up. It's like it always makes me nervous. Is it going to work? It should work. See, it's behaving much better. And stays on, stains your stamp. And see, that one is maybe a little bit light. It's good here. Let me try one more time. I'll just take the best. And there is stays on cleaner, but I don't mind my stamp being stained. Ooh, that's better. Okay, this one needs to be re-inked. Okay, so these two coloring. Oh, so we talked about Stampin' or re-inking. This one, the stamp was so stuck to the pad, that was the first pass, that it even tore up the paper. It peeled up a little bit of it. That's crazy. Okay, only 2 dies. You're like, are you going to use all those colors? I think so. For the horse and for the background. And for the horse, I'm going to put it up a little bit high so there's a little bit of white behind them. Because did you notice on here how I used, what color is this? Bermuda Bay. I think there's another color in the book now. Probably Coastal Cabana. To put a little bit of color back behind him. Okay, so let's cut these out. Here they are. Okay, and on here, did you notice the little scene? Oh, that's right back behind here. So that is, when you look at the stamp, that's the fence, some grazing horses, a barn, and a tree. Well, the tree I put on the inside. Look how bright it came out on the white paper. Okay, so we can stamp that since we're kind of on a roll. Do I like this? Sure, sure. So I positioned the barn over here because I didn't want the horse standing on the barn, but there might be enough room. What if I do the barn kind of off to the edge? Barn. Okay, so that will go where his feet are. Then I'll do the fence. The fence, the first time I almost did it upside down. I was like, there's tufts of grass under there. Fence. Maybe this time I'll do a tree and grazing horses. Tree right there. And right now it's like, with the wood grain, you can hardly see it. But once we put a little color on it, it's going to be good. Grazing horses and more grazing horses. Okay. So there's no dies for this, so you have to cut them out. And I have this one cut out and colored. What do you think about the color? I wasn't happy with the browns. Now that I'm thinking about the dry coloring and not activating it, that could have been good. But I think he's fine. We'll still color this one. Okay, so let's color this area down here. So I'll do the barn in Cherry Cobbler, and I'm just kind of applying the color. I'm not really taking too much time to see where the color is going, because I'll use the aqua painter to color it in. And then green, this is, pretty sure this is Mossy Meadow. And just all along the bottom. And in the tree. It's raining out there. Okay, green. The blue is for, well, we could do that. This is for all around the horse. So I'm hoping for kind of a dull point, just because I don't want any streaks in here. I want it to be really soft. And I'll hold it up here in just a minute. But I'm being a little bit heavier closer to the horse, and then a little bit lighter as it stretches out. That is kind of really heavy, but it's going to work out okay. I could be a little heavy in here, because that's everything shadow. Boy, it's really raining out there. Okay, I'll hold this up, and then we could do the aqua painter while it's held up. And because you kind of have only one shot at it, I'm hoping I'm hoping to do it smooth enough. Okay, where's that stamp pad? Crumb cake. Okay, I'm going to start in an easy area right here. Make sure you can see. And here we go. It just makes it soft, no streaks. As you can see, when I colored it, there's streaks. And I'm sure that people that do watercolor pencils all the time, they probably have some great tips to how to do this. They're like, oh, what you're talking about, that's called this. I'm by no means do I know what I'm doing. I'm just playing around, having fun, and sharing what I learned. Okay, that worked out pretty good. So see how he just kind of has a glow? Okay, let's try to do this gray, black, this hues of dark. I think I want to start with the black because on all the pictures, I pulled up so many pictures, the nose was always a little bit dark. So at this point, I'm just kind of applying the color. And here, I guess if I rounded it really dark, I could do the aqua painter first, but then it's kind of already set. This is like coloring a different horse. Okay, that's black. And now the gray will be the next level of color. The gray, you can hardly see it. Okay, it's supposed to be all gray. Is that even coming out? Yeah. I think I have another set. Let me check for a different basic gray. You know how I said I had pens before? What is this one? I think this is a gray. So if you have pens, I'm like, look at these colors. How would they work? These are regular pencils. They blend together well, but they don't do watercoloring. But when I read on the side, color grip, it doesn't say anything about being watercolor. Do these? These don't either. But then these are Prismacolor Premier. These are Prisma Water or Prismacolor. These ones over here, they say on them watercolor. So it has to say watercolor. Otherwise you'll get the regular ones and they don't do that magic. But maybe you just want a dry color, which is pretty too. Let me try this. And I really want the dull point, but like I said, I haven't used these in a long time. So sometimes I'm thinking, is that tip that I just cut off and put in here, is it really tired and it's just not working? This one's a little bit better, but it might be because I have more of a point on it. Okay, back to black. And I'm doing black where I think the shadows are. His mane, let's have his mane be black. Then here, the artist put shadows on them. So, like I said, I can't really say I know what I'm doing, but I can say I have fun with it. Okay, and maybe some more gray down through here, because this is a gray horse. This part here, I'll leave some of it white, like that's a highlight on his grayness. It's a shimmer. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm nervous. Okay, I'll do over here, then I'll hold it up and I'll do his face. First, make sure there's no green or cherry cobbler in there. Okay. Oh, isn't that pretty? There's no need to be nervous. Wow. Ooh, look how pretty that turned out. Isn't it great to be us? There's so many people that don't have hobbies. They don't get to do silly stuff like this. Look at that. I'm gonna leave his ears a little bit white. Look how pretty. Okay, I thought I liked the white one, but maybe I like the gray one. He's a silver. Okay, I was trying to move the color to blend it more, but you can't move it. Okay, what color should his... Oh, Barbara McKay, I need you to tell me, what is his nose necklace? What is that? He's unbridled. Is that a... That's not a bridle. What color is his thing? Well, this one I put it as Cajun Craze, kind of to go with the orange, so I'm just going to stick with that. Oh, you know what I should try? Have the paper wet before I put it on, because then it will be dark. Okay, let me test it first. So this is the plan. Dry. Here's his nose necklace. And then when it's, okay, and then clear it out. Then I would activate it. Nice and smooth. Okay, or that's his nose thing right there. Ooh. Oh. Can you see what a difference? Okay. There's a plan. So, and I think that this is part of it too. And what's good is that the gray colors are already set. It might go other places, but I'm not sure. See, that goes on really strong and solid. Okay, I like it. That's done. So now we just need to color. We did the green. I did the white on this one for the roof, trying to make it like a tin roof. I'll try it here. Maybe do it this way. Okay, now try the white. Here's just a little lighter. But you know what? The color pen, the watercolor pencils kind of covers up the detail from the stamp. Okay, let's do the horses in. Should they be matchy-matchy? Should I do them in gray? I'm going to do it this way because it's a little bit stronger. I had to put some of that Cajun Craze for the tree trunks. Yeah, these horses, they kind of just blend in. You could put black on them. Wash and clothes. Wash and laundry. Yeah. Okay. How about terracotta with a fence post? They could be white. Not seen. Okay, how about Cajun Craze for the tree trunks? Okay, that's supposed to just be a background anyhow. What do you think? Oh, see, now from the side, now that it's up in the light, I could really see the roof and the fence posts. Oh, and on the other one, I did a little bit of sky. Let's do that. Sky, sky. This looks more like a turquoise. And I'll put pictures on my blog, which is JilliBling.com, so you could see close-ups, which I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but let's just go with it and say there'll be close-ups of everything. I think coloring the flowers is a little bit more, ooh. So yeah, you can kind of see it. Okay, so we're done with the front there. Since we're coloring, let's do the inside. Okay, so horseshoes. Somehow I'm under the impression that they should go up so it holds in all the good luck. But if you want a horse walking, they go downward. So what's the answer? I might not put on my little horseshoe paper until I hear your comments. Okay, polymer into stays on. And it's just random. Horseshoes. Okay, let me know. Should they go on like this or like that? Okay, and the inside paper, this one I might make it a little less stuff because the barn is really bright. I like the fence. If we put the fence in the middle, this one could be just fences and tree. Here's a fence. I should have more of a plan. Oh, well, no more mistakes. Fence. Good. Tree. Tree. Grazing horses. They're in between pastures. Go there or here. I think I'm going to do a little more fence over here, even though most of it will be covered up. On the sample, I left a little bit of white showing, and the fence would show through there. Okay. So, let's do a little bit of coloring. No white. A little bit of sky. This one I'm going to make a little bit lighter. See, this is when it's good to have the pencil that has that dull flat area on it. Maybe around the tree, have a little bit extra sky. I said I'm not going to put much on, but here it is. Much is going on, but it's really light. Okay, so that's done. We can kind of activate that now. See, it stays on, so the ink doesn't smear. Okay, that's really subtle. Okay, what other color? Basic gray, that's horse color. Okay. Basic black is horse shadow color. We already did basic gray. And Cajun Craze is going to be tree branch color. And how about if we do these fence posts? I kind of like the white fence posts. I'm just going to leave it. No barn. And then we have the mossy meadow. Mossy meadow, and look how dull it is, but that's going to work out really good for soft coverage. And then these little tufts of grass down here, they get to be green. So when I hold this up, you'll say, well, you didn't color really well, but I'm just trying to get the color so that when I take the aqua painter to it, I can move the color right out to the edges. The edges of the StazOn line art. Okay, that's all the colors on there. Okay, how about if we start out with the green? Oh, that's a little brighter. But here I could push the color around right out to the edges of that leaf gathering. Okay, down here at the bottom. Well, it's showing up good down here. The green showed up really good. So I'll do the branches. And then the gray, black horses. Okay, there it is. See, I like this one better. This one is a little bit more subtle. And I'm still thrilled with how he came out. Okay, oh, I have another fun thing. This paper, did you notice it underneath on the tag? We're going to make it look like that, like leather. Or you could leave it plain, however you like. Okay, let's clean up a little bit here. Okay, so to do that, you take your perfectly good crumb cake paper, and if you have aggressions, this is time for them to dissipate. You're like, okay, that's all it's going to crunch. And open it up. You know, back in the day we would do this, and we would crumple it up so much that the paper would kind of separate. And we were calling that faux leather. So you can do that. And we were actually pulling apart the layers of paper and then kind of doubling the use of it. I don't know about going that far, but if it separates, I won't be unhappy. So now I'm going through and like, see how this is flat right here? And I'm just getting the distressing going on. And I'm mostly concentrating on the outside edges because that's all that will be seen. And you don't have to do this. Some people don't like distressed things. Okay. You're probably like, I didn't know you did that. Let me see if it's kind of separating. See, back in the day, it'd be like, nope, you need to do it some more. It's kind of separating right there. But that could be part of your distressed look too. Okay, so we just need it around the edges. Okay, so crumb cake pad, here we go. Aren't those pretty? I really love the green. Okay, crumb cake pad. There we go. And just the high points are going to be darkened by the crumb cake ink. And yes, it's crumb cake on top of crumb cake, but it works. Oh, that's a lot darker than the other one was. And then I'm going to take the dauber. Are you like, wait a minute, let me see, what is it you're doing? It's just this right down here. Is it worth all that? I don't know. I think so. So I just want some areas to be a little darker. So like say you didn't, that came out really dark, but you could just run over the top and it will pick up the areas that are wrinkled, the high points. I think I just re-inked the pad. That's probably what's going on. It's going to dry a little bit lighter than that. Okay, so we're done with that. But to get it to stick, where is our cute guy? This one here? Look how nice that is. The kind of nice one is darker. I like his thing. I know you guys are going to correct me. Tell me the exact name. So I'm going to put 3 dimensionals on the bottom here. Then I'm going to put glue on the top. Glue. And I'm going to get it centered on here. And keep in mind when you try to center it, first of all, the glue trying to stick to the crumb cake ink that's still wet. Trying to center a perfect paper onto a crumpled paper. Yeah. Okay, so that's the plan right there. And I don't know if you could tell, but it's already jumping up. It already looks a little crooked. I'm going to set this off to the side with a little weight on it while we assemble the rest of the card. A block. Okay, dry. That one is cute. Where are these papers? Okay, so anyone that knows me, you're like, what are you doing using pumpkin pie? Why are you using orange? Because I say all the time, look how nice that looks. I don't like orange, but it works today. One day only. If it was anywhere near Halloween, I probably should have used my once-a-year orange on Halloween. Oh well, it works today. How would that look on there? Oh, he gets lost. Oh, that's better. Because that was coral. I like coral. Oh, and we have to do his rope. You know, I didn't put any bling on there. Okay, so there's that. And I see a little white bit. What's up with that? We stamped the words on the front, on the designer paper. Which stays on. If you're kind of being scared like I am, you're not alone. Okay, this is going to go in here. This will go here. And I want to let that keep drying. This will go, you know, there's the cut area. So the cut line is not all the way out to the edge. Okay, so that's where I'm going to stamp the greeting. You know, you have to use everything. Thanks for being a true friend. I like that. Okay, it's going to go right here. Are your fingers crossed? Are you nervous too? I'm just going to do it. Go quickly from stamp pad to paper. Get it straight. Go. Okay. Is it okay? Yay! You know, simple pleasures. We're done stamping. Thanks for being a true friend. That's nice. Okay, we're done with these. Okay, and you still have to tell me. This way? Where he's walking? or this way where it's holding in good luck. Okay, so this gets attached because it's stamped okay. And you could use any paper. I'm wondering, like on the white one, if you used like Coastal Cabana, like a kind of a blue type color that would match the shadow. There's also in there balmy blue. I think horses like orange. Okay, that's gonna go right there, I think. See, do I want it in the way of the tree? But I probably shouldn't worry about that because the banner is gonna cover here. What's interesting is the Cajun Craze. It's pretty good with the pumpkin pie. So I hear the washer going. Tony's like, you don't have to do everything on sanitary. I'm like, oh yes I do. He's like, that takes an hour and 20 minutes. Oh, I probably should have had that up higher because look at the words. Well, if his feet are in the border, that's okay, right? Anyhow, since he's not here, guess what? I'm doing it on sanitary. Does it need to be? It is my, you know, every day when you sit in your chair, I sit in my chair for only 1 hour in the evening. And I have a snuggle blanket. Even in the winter, or even in the summer, I like a blanket. It's like, oh, I've gotta wash that. Might as well wash my towel and my robe. I mean, just wash everything. It's getting sanitized. Okay, one more, and then I'm going to put glue on his toes. He's getting a pedicure. Okay, maybe a little bit thin because I'm impatient. Kind of covering the barn. Oh no, there it's good. Okay, I'm just worried about, see, that's letting the words be seen. Okay, there it is. Oh, he is pretty. I had no idea. When I push his booty, his tail goes up. Oh. Okay. Let's see how this is doing. See, didn't that come out cool? I like it. When I'm looking at it here, it's like, oh, got that crooked. Because there's more over here than here. The sides look pretty good. Okay, so to do the lasso, I have some fibers from before. I think those would look good. But I want to do the linen thread one, like I did on the sample. Maybe not quite as big as that one. So I'm going to wrap it around and purposely leave loose ends. Wrap it around 2 fingers 3 times and loose end, and I'm going to cut it right about here. I used linen thread. I think it's like an answer to everything. Okay, so now I have my little loop. But you're like, well, how are you going to tie that? I'm going to take this, fold it over. So now it's folded over, and I'm going to go around 2 or 3 times. Kind of made that one small. Might be hard to tie. I'm going to do the little loop here. And I'm sure this is not what lassos look like, but in card making linen thread lasso, this is what it looks like. And I'm just making it so when I tie it in a knot, it will stay. Oh, I should use my little tweezers. I've been using those more and more. Okay. This can hold it still while I do the knot. And I'll hold this up. Those pinch pretty good. So I know in Lasso World, that in it, they probably just have it wrapped around a few times. Maybe I could try that and use a glue dot, but I want the knot to be on the front. Anything you could do just to get it to tie. And a knot. Oh, here comes the dog. He's like, I've been in all day. I'm ready. We're almost done. I'll have him wait just a little bit. Okay, so there's a knot, and it's good and tight. Okay. Kind of ugly, but it's okay. It almost looks like it has a bow on it. So that's gonna go right about here. Kind of draping over. Ooh, I like the trio look right there. And then have this here. I might put a glue dot or some liquid glue under there, just a little touch of it. That looks good. But I'm gonna put all this down flat. I think maybe tear tape. Tear tape. If I can tear it. Just to hold it for now, I need just a little bit. I'll flip this over and I'll show you. Not that it's hard or anything. Well, that didn't turn out so pretty. When I was holding it at first, it was kind of pretty. Ooh, dislodged. Ooh, tape is in place. Well, maybe that's just what happens out on the farm. You know what? It's just gonna have to stay like that. See, I liked it when all three of them were equal apart. You know what? I will be the winner. Today, I'll be the winner. Redo. Now it's all over my fancy JP nails. He tried, he spent so much time. I feel guilty. And I told him, I said, you don't have to do all that. Okay, so to be the winner, without going through all that, tear tape on the back. Okay. So now it has something to stick in. Okay. We're set for greatness. It's going to happen. So now the knot is seen, and oh, look at the three little pieces. Maybe there could be a little gap in between them, just to accentuate how cute it is. That's good. That's better. Okay, hang down like this. Okay, so I'm going to put tear tape on this side to lock it in. Oh, I'm almost done. Okay, that's good. And then the rest is going to get glue. And then I'll put the block back on it. Okay, glue. Because it's textured, and I want it to remain textured. A little heavy on the glue. I'm fine if the edges poke up, because I want it to be known that this is like a leather banner. Yeah. Look at that. Okay, Bo, okay. I want the orange to be seen. Okay, hold on. Okay, you have to go out. be out there and he'll say, gosh, it's cold. I want to come back in. Okay, so I don't want it covering him, even though it kind of accentuates the knot. I'm going to put a little dot of glue right here. Okay. And I like how that's draping, maybe even a little bit into the words. That's okay. Okay. Let it dry. Oh, that's staying down by itself. Are we done? I think we're done. Okay. So, we haven't done the inside. Stuck it together. That's easy to fix. So let me know about the horseshoes. Should it be walking horse or should it be good luck horse? Good luck horseshoes. I didn't put a greeting on the inside, but I think it's okay. There's lots of room to write. Okay, that is it for today's project. Do you like it? Do you think you'll give watercoloring a try? I certainly had fun with it. Okay, that's it. I hope you have a great day. And until next time, take care.